part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everyone, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am Damon Royster, happy to be back on the podcast that has everyone saying, "You're still doing that?" And today we are continuing our Spider-Man Sony-verse journey. I'm sure you've just heard us talk about Madam Web, and you probably heard me pronounce it Madame Web. Go back to that episode to find my feelings, but today we are going into the darkest corner of this universe so far. Today we're talking about Venom, aka What That Tongue Do. Joining me today to discuss this cinematic achievement, because they did make it. We have two A-list people, because they both have an A name. We got a double A for you. My first guest is an improviser, producer, and washed-up creative director. Using his Plan B mic, please welcome to your ears, Alex Honnet.
Hi, guys. I'm so flattered you had to get one of the darkest guys you know to talk about this dark movie.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I need some fucked up people.
Yeah, you need a guy who really sucks.
Oh, man. Okay. I love this. I think we're going to use that energy. For
People
this
always ask me what that tongue do, so it's perfect.
I know. They won't stop.
They won't stop.
Man. And I say keep them guessing. My second guest, they are also here. They're an actor, improviser, writer, and mic-less, as far as I can tell. Please welcome to your ears, Avery McClure.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm tongue-tied, so my tongue doesn't do much, can't do much. So, but I was really excited to see. The tongue was really, it was awesome.
Awful, you say?
Yeah.
It sort of feels like that you remember like back in the 90s when special effects weren't that great yet, and so whenever something really big would happen, there would be like articles about it. Like that would be like Venom's tongue. Now it would be like the tongue work alone took a team of 15 working for 2 years.
That is the question about
the tongue
movies
team.
Like this. It's like, yeah, a full tongue team, a whole ass tongue team for a movie that no one might ever see and is questionable at best.
Well, Damon, I mean,
Yes.
this is a hit. Like this was like the biggest Sony Spider-Man hit when it came out, right?
Really?
Or like one of them.
I mean, I do think you're right. It was not Morbius. But yeah, this was a hit, and I kind of get it. I kind of get it because Tom Hardy is so attractive.
Yeah, but he sucks. It's so funny. Like I oscillated so much the whole time between like, this guy's got it, and it's like, has this guy ever acted before in his entire life?
I feel that, but also I wonder if he was like, it just had the air of like, I'm gonna be half CGI'd in this movie, so why do I need to do anything?
I thought he was really good. Like that was my favorite part, was just watching him and Venom talk. Like that relationship was really
fun. Yeah.
That was really fun. That was actually the best part. Yeah.
Well, let's back up here. If listeners, if you can't tell, these are two first-time guests who've never been on this podcast before.
We're just two dark guys who like to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry that we don't like buy your rules.
Sorry, we're cutting edge, kind of. Yeah.
No, this is good. There should be anarchy on the Venom podcast. That makes sense. But Alex, I kind of get. I think I can guess your relationship to superhero films. But Avery and we've never discussed superhero films in our lives. Do you watch these normally? Was this your first time watching a Marvel property?
No, I definitely have just kind of a classic relationship to it, where I see the big ones. I think I actually had a party. My 16th birthday party was watching the Avengers.
Kill me.
And on a projector in my backyard.
Me too. I'm also fucking dead.
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah, so that's kind of my relationship to it. But I really always enjoy them. But
yeah, I'm
also like over it too, it's a combination.
Absolutely. I mean, you were 16 in 2012. I get it. So Alex Honnet, how about you? Have you seen Venom before this?
I had never seen Venom before. I think I personally loved the superhero movies and sort of like up to the first Avengers and like the subsequent ones. But I am definitely and have been for maybe like 10 years suffering from serious fatigue. And I don't love what it's done to culture, superhero movies in general, of just like
Mm,
it's just kind of flattened everything. And now it's like that is movies a lot of the time are these ones. So to see something like this that is like so tonally I don't feel like Marvel like makes movies that are this weird or like tonally off quite the same way. Like the Marvel movies, like at their worst, are kind of like boring. But this one was
yeah.
like good, but somehow bad at the same time. It was kind of interesting to watch, to be totally honest. I went from really enjoying myself to not.
Hmm.
I would also,
Same.
yeah, same as well. I really liked the beginning of this movie. And I think the worst part about it was Venom. I kind of wanted to see a story about a journalist, cracking down on a mad scientist corporation and trying to save his relationship with his Academy Award winning lawyer
Can we
girlfriend.
talk about her for a second? Like
Please.
what movie did she think she was in? You know what I
I'm so sorry,
mean?
listener. Avery McClure just gave a thumbs down to Michelle Williams.
She's one of the most
Sorry.
incredible actresses of this generation. She's
Give us
amazing.
nothing, Queen. Give us nothing.
Was this a paycheck for her or something like that? I mean, to be
She was
honest, like
phoning it in.
the role
Yeah.
sucked, so I kind of get it. So it's probably that thing of like she reads like her script and is like, oh, I can, what she make like a couple $100,000 or something like that, or like a couple million to be in something like this. And it's like, great, this will pay for my year or something, like
Hey,
whatever it is. I'm in the
But
Marvel universe.
these indie movies don't pay,
No, they don't. You
yeah,
have
She
to do
needs to,
one
she
for the
needs to do at
studio.
least one big budget. Also, her performance in this, I thought she was doing really good character work in The Fablemans, but as I watched Venom, I was like, oh no, no. She was just doing her Venom character. Same voice, same exact voice.
Their relationship too was one of the things that I just could not put my finger on in the
same.
movie. It's just like they had about as much chemistry as like a wet dog or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it was just
Yeah, wet
Homeboy,
dog. Yeah.
he logged into her email. He logged into her email.
That wasn't right.
extremely sus behavior.
Like, dude,
Very
it's done.
sus.
Like, I'm not. What is that man's name? The hot guy from Veep. Hot by default because he's in comedy. Um,
Dan.
wait, that's
The
his.
character in the
That's
movie
his
was named
character.
Dan. That's correct. But he is a Dan. He looks like a Dan.
He's Dan. Yeah,
And I think
right.
his name
Yeah.
was Dan in Veep as well.
And Veep as well.
So might as well just call him Dan. But like, I don't like him, but I'm like, yeah, she should be with this guy. Be with a doctor. Be with a successful doctor.
100%.
I will say
Uh,
this for her. Her body looked amazing in that Lady Venom reveal.
Yeah.
Her butt was butting big,
now,
crazy energy there.
Avery, do you believe that they use Michelle Williams' body for that part of the movie?
How would they do
I
anything else?
assume.
Yeah,
How
like
else
what
would
are you
that
talking
happen?
about? That would be the
Uh,
Tom
article
Hardy.
written in the 90s,
Yeah.
like the Michelle Williams butt team on Lady Venom.
we are not
Right.
10 minutes into this podcast and we're
An
already
entire team of designers for the butt.
yeah, so we have the butt designers and the tongue designers.
Mhm.
It's a regular Kiss concert.
Are butts big for Kiss?
They got the spandex. Gotta be.
Mm.
I bet they
Well,
have big butts. They're out on stage. Well, that's tangent. Yeah.
they cannot lie. Let's go into the Eddie Brock report of it all. We meet this guy. What is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be evoking Vice?
Oh, that's a really good call out. Yeah, I guess so. This movie came out in 2018. So
Hmm.
it was interesting because it felt like kind of contemporary in some ways of like this guy, this like sort of like street journalist, like recording stuff, but there was no component of the internet whatsoever, really. This is like
No.
a big guy
Yeah.
working for a big media company doing these extremely small man on the street stories.
Yeah.
That was confusing. His relationship to the corporation. Like, wasn't he independent? Why? But I don't know how that works.
Well, he worked for Ron Cephas Jones, R.I.P.
Oh
Brandon's
yeah.
dad from This Is Us. Anybody?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're absolutely
sad.
right.
You know,
And I guess that was the media corp. Like he worked for them, and they like produced his Brock report, and he decided he was going to take down the Life Foundation. I guess I'm just explaining the plot of Venom at this point. And
Thank God you got your eye on the prize, you know what I mean? Because clearly me and
Yeah.
Avery are just here to talk about Michelle Williams'
butts
butt in
and
a Venom suit, and tons.
yeah,
I know.
butts
When you have boys on a podcast, I know what it's
We're
like.
just three guys
it's
stopping it up,
crazy.
Look at her butt. Life Foundation, which, man, great title for a villainous company of like, we're so not evil. We're the Life Foundation.
No, that was so
Right.
good. But also, it's
Yeah.
so weird because the Life Foundation, their whole thing is like they're sending things to space. Like, what the? So, and this is the thing, right? He was supposed to be kind of like the bad guy. He's supposed to be like an Elon Musk character. That's who we're like sort of
Yeah.
targeting,
Oh,
like
mhm.
Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, kind of like hybrid guy. That's the vibe I got.
Right.
Zucker Musk.
And when they killed the symbiote, he's
Mhm.
Zucker Musk. When they killed the symbiote because they killed the doctor, he said this
Yeah.
line. He was like, "You killed the symbiote, you let it die?" And then he said, "The arrogance." Oh, that's what he
Oh,
said.
I do remember that. I do remember the
He was like,
arrogance.
"The arrogance."
Jenny Slate not giving, I mean, I feel like you bring Jenny Slate into a movie like this to give kind of a comedic performance, but there's nothing really that funny about
Yeah.
her role or
She
about
was
the material she was given.
like
No.
this. I mean, she was playing like, I would say like the Felicity Jones, Claire Foy role of like, which this role should have been a British person because that's how I know they're smart. Um,
Yeah.
a British scientist like, oh no, the symbiote
Oh
is on the
God.
loose. I don't know. This is my first time watching this movie, and before this, I had like heard that she was one of the worst parts, or like her part was like
Oh, that's not
comical.
fair.
Oh, that's
But
sad.
I
Yeah.
thought she was doing a very good job of
Yeah, she
being
did a
That's
like,
totally
good.
fine job.
yeah, the person who warns the hero about the issue and then ultimately dies. Like every superhero movie
And
has them.
and I don't think the character had anything. Like she was just kind of a doctor. And also smart people like that aren't typically funny. I mean, I think she played
Yeah.
true to character. They're not.
Smart people are never funny, and
That's
I've
so
always said
true.
that. Yeah.
I've always
Well,
been saying that.
and I guess so to me watching this, it's like one of the biggest things that's like kind of different about like a Sony Marvel movie versus like a Marvel movie is like Marvel movies usually have some moments of like real comedy in them that come from like the ensemble. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what you're
Yeah.
expecting from the Jenny Slate character a little bit, like to be sort of the plucky relief a little bit but like she basically shows up like isn't funny, is sort of charismatic on screen, and then fucking dies. Like she's like in this
Yeah.
weird, she's probably
Yeah.
like the fourth build name in the movie, and they just like murk her.
I would have loved
So
to have her
Straight murked.
later
yeah.
on, like taking some shots at Venom and, like she stays with it and then she gets to hit him with something or in a
Yeah.
fight scene.
Or she gets the symbiote for a little bit. Also,
Yeah.
wait, I want to talk about science. Can we, Michael, can I
Oh,
finally talk about science? He never lets me. Like the
Well, you're not a lady in STEM, Damon. I'm so
uh,
sorry, but you have to make space for that.
you know,
sure.
you know just how to hurt me, Alex. But I don't understand the symbiote. So it's like this thing that wants to attach to humans. Also, real great. It's a symbiotic relationship, and it's called a symbiote. Get the fuck out of here. Um, so it like attaches to the people, and then it like uses them up, and they die. Except for Venom, who can hop from Tom Hardy to Michelle Williams whenever he wants, and like I'm just it's pretty fast and loose, and they don't really explain why it works for Tom Hardy and doesn't for all
Right.
those unhoused people. Look at me
Well,
for
I think
They
your
just
point is the correct one. Sorry, Avery, please go ahead.
well, they just said it was something like blood type. Like if you
Yeah.
have the
Mm.
right blood type, and it really maybe it was blood type. Like the symbiote was looking for type O blood. I don't know. But
Oh,
anyway, but yeah, so
you would think a scientist could
conveniently
test for that
Michelle
first.
and yeah, true, yeah. Yeah.
And Alex, what were you gonna say?
Exactly that. Like that I think you hit like one of the big holes is that they made such a big deal about how the symbiote just like totally wrecks people who it's not matching with, but Michelle Williams was totally fine, when she like when
Yeah.
it pops off of her. And that's like where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, this movie is deeply stupid,
Yeah.
where it's
They
like
they
they're
made it
just
all
making
up.
they're making the like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you're making up rules as you go along, but you have to have some sort of like consistency and coherency between it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Coherence, not coherency, like consistency, like
Coherency.
coherency.
Coherency, yeah.
That's
And
what Venom
it's
was missing, the coherency.
And also, we're bearing the lead here. Like, I guess, Michael, I'm so sorry. Cool me down because I think we're just popping off about Venom. Because like Venom's bad. He a
Yeah,
bad man. He a
he's a
bad
bad
boy.
guy. He's a bad
This is
guy.
this is also one of those like Joker or who the fuck else has done
Mm.
this? They're like, let's make the villain the hero of this movie, but it's
Yeah.
but it's not even as oh God, it's not even as good as Joker. Literally push me off a roof. It's not as good as Joker because at
It's
least
not.
Joker is the origin story of a villain. This is the origin story of someone who is a villain, but for our purposes, we like Venom.
And that's kind of what I mean. That's what's missing in this whole movie is like the idea they made it kind of gruesome at times as if it was going to be as if it was a super dark, intense movie. Like especially the very beginning, like
Mhm.
they're just fucking people are just dying. It's incredibly gory. And then Tom Hardy shows up and it's a different movie for a little bit, but
Yeah.
they never really have a kind of the tonal coherency, cohesion
There's no
going on
coherent
between like,
cohesion. Yeah.
is this like a buddy, like funny, haha Marvel movie, or is this like a dark, like sinister kind of
Yeah.
thing? And they oscillate between those two things so much that it just it doesn't quite work. And that was my biggest gripe with it, is like the thing too about it is like Tom Hardy's character is ostensibly like a good guy, like he's like a
Yeah.
loser, but he's like he's trying to do the right thing. But at the same time, he is like also like so when Venom gets him, he's like a bad guy, and that's when I was missing so much. Is like Venom's a bad guy, Tom Hardy's a good guy, but Tom Hardy doesn't look like a good guy. He looks like a dirtbag, like some kind of badass. So they're like,
Yeah.
I
It's
just didn't
great.
He's
know.
riding a motorcycle. He always looks greasy. Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
but he's good in his heart. Like he's an
Hmm.
investigative reporter. He's trying to get to the truth. I thought Tom Hardy's character was like he was a good guy, but yeah, he looked grungy. But then
I
he actually
no notes.
changed. And again, this is me explaining the plot. But he changes Venom's mind. Venom wants to overtake the people, and then he falls in love with humanity through Tom Hardy. And who can blame him?
That's
Charismatic and handsome.
that's a very, very good point. I'm not being fair enough to Mr. Hardy, and I will do better.
Can we please be
I
fair to
just
Mr.
think
Tom
he was
Hardy? I
please.
texted this to Avery before, but I'm ready to I'm ready to announce this live on the podcast. Michael, don't cut this. Tom Hardy and I have the same birthday.
Wow. That's
Oh
huge.
boy,
I've been holding on to that
that's
secret for a long
amazing.
time.
This episode exclusive?
This is an exclusive, everybody. Tom Hardy and
Oh my
I,
God.
we're both Virgos, September 15th.
Same
Wow.
birthday.
That's
That's incredible.
our birthday. So my birthday buddy, he's doing the
He's
good
so great.
work. He's so great, mostly because of his birthday. Have we talked enough about Michelle Williams's character Anne, which is such a thankless name?
I don't think
What
so.
a terrible name. No, I don't think so. I think we should rip it apart a little more.
My question for y'all, how can Anne be a lawyer and also a master at rocket launch controls? Because she like plays like what noise can rockets make to confound the symbiotes? Because we know that
Totally.
like,
Wait,
and then
totally
That part
true.
first
was
question. And
so
then
funny. There's this moment when they're in the car and Venom just like, I like her and straight up tells her how to like kill him. Like symbiotes
Mhm.
don't,
Yeah,
it was this weird piece of exposition of like Tom
yeah.
Hardy's like saying, I was like, why is he doing that? Like Venom
It's
shouldn't do
between
that.
these hurts and like he knows what hurts are. Like surely they wouldn't have the same nomenclature as us.
Yeah,
Come on. And then
exactly.
fire apparently can kill him too.
Is Venom just learning because he's body hopping from person to person?
Oh,
Wow.
true.
So he
Yeah,
knows. I don't want to help the movie, but
that's
yeah,
true. That's true.
Anne is just kind of like all-purpose badass chicory, and she does the thing that I like least in these like solo female characters in superhero movies, where she's like Venom and Tom Hardy go off to save the day, and she's like, "Oh, that's bullshit," because she can't come along, and it's like, don't. I don't know. It just really as a writer, I hate that because it's like you wrote that, like you wrote
Yeah.
her out of the thing. Like if it's hard for me to connect with a character like, oh, I feel bad that she's left out. Well, like they wrote it that way. Does that make sense? I feel like I just talked
It does.
in a big
She
cloud.
does. She's not a
Yeah.
badass. Like, at no point in this thing
No.
have I gotten the sense that she should be at a place where there are people who are going to be murdered. Like, she is
Yes.
like
Totally.
a cozy, like, she's got some spunk in her. You know
She's
what
a
I mean?
business babe.
She's a business
Mhm.
babe.
babe.
She is a boss. She's
Yeah.
a girl boss. She is a little
Girl-
bit of a girl boss.
She's a
I
little bit of a
I
girl
wouldn't
boss.
say, not even a little bit. She is like that's girl boss
She's
energy,
girl bossing.
She's girl boss.
running in her
But I
little mini
mean,
skirt.
That
anybody
miniskirt
like
was awful. I hated that little schoolgirl miniskirt. I was like, what are they doing? Like, don't put Michelle Williams, and I think that's
Dawson's
my
Creek
biggest
didn't even do
gripe.
that.
No, she's such an incredible actress. It's like she is phenomenal. Like, full
I
stop.
feel like
She was
y'all are baiting me because I just don't know enough about her to respect her outside of
she was
this, and so I don't.
Excuse me?
really?
No, I
Do
do
we need to
not
go
know
over
about
Michelle
her.
Williams' bona fides?
Have you not
No,
seen Blue
please,
Valentine, My Week with Marilyn,
no. Those are all
Dawson's
super
Creek?
like.
I know you haven't seen Dawson's
Oh
Creek.
shit! Actually, what? I shouldn't like make fun of her performance. It was good, but it was just so boring.
No, it was
You
boring.
know?
Well, we're making fun of her performance in
Or I
this,
think
but,
Avery, I think her
because
performance was bad. I
Right.
think you're fine to make fun of
yeah,
her performance.
Yeah.
and we're just mad because there are other. We know what she can do.
Right. Right. She didn't have the
Damon,
material.
I think your point is correct. Like maybe this was like a nod back to her sort of Dawson's Creek shit. You know what I mean? It's like it feels closest to that in terms of like my feelings about Michelle Williams before she became a prestige actress. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, she's like a teen girly. You know what I mean? And then like who knows what she'll have a career afterwards. And then she revealed herself to be amazing. But like that wasn't, you know,
Yeah,
certainly
but
wasn't my impression at first.
even Dawson served her better there because at least there she like rejected every man on that show and just was like became best friends with the one gay character and she was better for it. Here she's still just like wrapped up in I don't know. Would you be I just don't know why she would forgive Tom Hardy even though I love Tom Hardy. I just didn't get that of like
Did
yeah,
she
I want
did she forgive him
well she still wants
at
him in
the
her
end?
life. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's this
Yeah.
question too. How long? So, from at the beginning of the movie, I was like, "Oh, they've been together for a long time, and I think they
Mhm.
live together, and they're in love, and this is like,
And they
They're
moved cities
engaged.
together. They went from
yeah."
New York to
Yeah.
San Francisco.
And I mean, to be in a relationship where you have like a date night means that you've been together for more than 2 years because like the enough of the magic has gone that you're not just like rocking and rolling every day, like, oh, let's go out tonight, let's do something. It's like, no, we have to schedule our time to go out,
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
big girl boss energy right there.
Alex Honnet, girl boss expert.
Please, I don't need that. I'm so lost in
Michael,
the
can you
woods
get
right now.
my t-shirt guy?
But like they break up because he betrays her horribly, like
Yeah.
truly
Yeah.
something there's not any coming back from.
Mhm.
Um, how long elapses between the breakup and then when she's dating Dan? Because
Uh,
it seems like a
they
day.
they said 6 months. It was 6 months.
Oh,
$6 months.
okay.
There was a
Yeah.
six
Well,
month
that's enough
gap.
time.
I want to go
Mhm.
back to that. How bad was it what he did? Like, and listen, I'm the apologist for Tom, okay? But what really did he do? Let's get into it, okay?
Okay.
He looked onto her computer,
Yeah.
okay?
Already,
Knew
you're
the
not making
password.
you're not doing a
No,
great job.
this actually works because this will lead us to Riz Ahmed because I do want to talk about him. So what he
Yeah,
did was he looked into her computer and he saw there was a confidential document. It said confidential in watermark on every fucking page.
totally,
And then he
totally.
used that information to interview Riz Ahmed's character, which is illegal. As someone who was a junior paralegal for 2 years in Chicago, brag, brag, brag.
Okay.
You had to deal with a situation just like this, huh?
I would never do this.
Okay, of
They would
course.
never give me that kind of information, but I've photocopied things for them. Um, and yeah, you just can't use like privileged information because
You
like,
can't, but he's getting to the
are you really gonna
truth,
fight me on this?
I'm just saying, of course it's illegal what he
Can't.
did, but he's trying to go to the truth. He was trying to
But
expose the
honey,
sinisterness.
he got her fired. She got fired after that. She
Yeah,
lost her job.
I
He chose his ideals and his career. He put himself above her, which is, I think, hard in a long-term relationship. You can't really do that.
You can't do that.
I don't think she has his vision. I don't
Interesting.
think.
Listeners,
Well,
I want to point out Avery told me he was coming on this podcast to be a disruptor. And I think we're finding it. I think we're finding it.
That's all I'm saying. He has this big picture of the world, and she
we're
lost her job.
we're also missing the point of like, wait, was she defending the life
Yeah, she
organization? So
was.
she's
Yeah,
like some
she was
scumbag
like,
lawyer.
yeah, exactly. He was like, well, you're working for this guy. She was like, I'm not working for him. I'm working for my firm. Who's working for this guy? Okay, babe. Transitive property.
Yeah, she's over there like, justify like it's basically like working for Raytheon or something like that.
Okay,
I'm just
clearly
saying, I don't
neither of
think what he did
you,
was so wrong.
God, clearly neither of you worked in a law firm, nor have you watched Suits, so I can't help you. Alex Honnet, talk to me about Riz Ahmed. Producer Michael, he does research on all of our guests, and Alex Honnet, producer Michael, found that you were actually the acting coach for Riz Ahmed for Venom.
Yes, I was.
So please talk to us. What was that like working with him, and like getting him to play this character whose name was something?
I
What's his name?
had it was tough. He's also an incredible actor, and so it was very hard to dial him back to the point where he could play sort of like dweeby, but also scary, but mostly
Yeah,
dweeby. Like to be able to take that guy's kind of natural charisma and channel it
and rip it
into
away.
this, yeah, exactly, into this kind of lifeless, like dweeb was tough. But I think we got there in a really great way, and I think the performance bears out of being sort of very flat and like not very interesting,
Yes,
It
Carlton
was so
Drake.
good.
Um, very good. I like when there are dweeby villains in superhero movies because I don't know. I think we need to highlight how men can be corrupted on all levels. It's not always just the Flash Thompson bully, that
Yeah.
sometimes tiny little thin men can also want to destroy the world. Avery McClure, did you like this man? Were you
I
on
I
his
did.
side?
Yeah, no, I was totally on this character side for sure. No,
Mhm.
I I thought his performance was really good. I thought he was spooky, but also the Isaac monologue was pretty good. He was
Mhm.
like, it
Mhm.
wasn't Abraham's sacrifice, it was Isaac's. And I was like, shoot, didn't think has never thought of it that way. And also a good line. Yeah,
Crazy to say to someone
I
named Isaac. Shout out to Isaac Snyder, our only listener. I would never do that to you.
I would never sacrifice you, Isaac.
No.
Yeah.
I would never sacrifice Isaac, but what I would sacrifice is our good time for a break. We're going to take a quick break right here. When we come back, we'll talk about the rest of Venom. I guess we'll talk about the Venom character. So keep it right here. We're ripping this thing to shreds, and Podcast 616 will be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
And we're back. We're back to Podcast 616. We have a dog, Dottie, joining us. Hello, Dottie.
Hey, Daddy.
That's a dog. So we just learned some information. Alex Honnold actually just got back from San Francisco, which is where Venom infamously takes place. Alex Honnold, did you feel a connection between that movie and your trip?
I personally felt like it was. When I started, I realized in San Francisco. I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like it's such a wonderful reflection of my own life. To see it in this.
Yes.
I wonder how much of it they actually filmed in San Francisco. It seemed like there was quite a bit, like a lot of the car chases and stuff like that. But that's not
yeah.
I guess they have filmed quite a bit there throughout the years. But it's as a city, it's got so much character and personality just in sort of the landmarks. It seems like a really good place to make a movie.
Oh yeah. They even had like that shot where the Venom creature climbed all the way to the top of that like
What
Oh,
is that?
yeah.
Standard Oil building or something like that? Or
Mhm.
that's not it.
Yeah.
That's a cool building.
Oh yeah.
with that beautiful blue light at the top. I love that.
And can I say something that might be controversial, but I did think it when I was watching this movie? Of course I'm going to say it. I find San Francisco to be a very unsexy city.
Mm,
Real.
interesting.
That's real.
I think it's very interesting. It's very quirky, but I'm not like, ooh, I want to wear an open collared shirt and get a glass of wine at a sexy bar in San Francisco. Like it's just, am I
Yeah.
wrong? Am I wrong?
I hear you on that. I think it's very techy, a lot of tech bro
Very techy.
energy.
I think it's
And
pretty unavoidable to kind of like recognize of what it's become. But I personally, I love that city. Like the geography, the landscape, the hills, the buildings, like the architecture, the whole place feels so nice. It's just I've been probably going there for like 15 years, and it's
Oh my gosh.
slid more and more into kind of this dystopia the longer I've been going there. But I'm always
Mhm.
curious because it's in the news so much now as like a crime-ridden city, and that it's usually never quite as bad as people make it out to be.
except when you
Yeah.
have Venom running around,
Well,
except when you
and
have
and that
motorcycle
that is that
chases.
is a major
Yeah,
concern, a major concern.
I mean
that's a
that
big
that
issue.
Oh, wait, that was really cool. So I finally understand. So speaking of crime, there was the woman who owns the little convenience store that
Mm.
keeps getting
Hmm.
not robbed necessarily, but like she keeps getting held up at gunpoint. I
Yeah.
forgot she's in Across the Spider-Verse, the second one. They go to that
Oh,
universe, and it's like the one of the few live action scenes in that animated movie. And I was like, oh, that finally makes sense. Have we seen Across the Spider-Verse?
Yeah,
I
I
want
loved
to.
it.
I
Have you
haven't
have you
yet.
done the podcast already, Damon?
I did with EJ Cameron.
Oh, that was probably really fun. I mean, those movies are
Yeah.
so good. I think
So
like to me, it kind of justifies the whole superhero movie thing to get those two. I'm very
yeah.
excited for the third one also.
Me too. Thank God the strike's over. All right. Avery McClure. We actually did some research on you, and by we I mean producer Michael. He researches all of our
Mm.
guests, and I found out that you were actually the motion capture inspiration for the Venom character.
Wow,
So
yeah,
talk to me about that. Like, what was your process like learning to move like Venom, like tongue and
totally.
all?
Well, quickly, I want to say, so that means, Alex, you weren't really the acting coach?
Well, he was the acting coach for Riz Ahmed, but you were the body motion capture person for
Oh, that's right.
Venom.
No, wait. Yeah, wait. Committing to that to no, to yes, I was, and
Mm,
I think it was a lot of my physicality was initially what drew them to it. Yeah,
yeah.
but I was also the her her body as well.
Oh, for when Michelle Williams' character had the Venom
Yeah,
suit. Yeah.
so
That's
that
why
was
that's
really
why she was so caked out.
she was caked up. She was caked, and honestly, it was an honor. I was really pleased to do it, but it was took a real toll on my body.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doubt. Could you describe some of the movements of a Venom creature?
One thing that they are loving to do is scramble. They love to
Mm,
kind of like up that building. Um, when I was preparing for it, I was looking at a lot of wildlife footage of
yeah.
beetles. There's a very bug-like quality, and just also
Good inspo.
juice, like anything juicy, like jellyfish. I was looking at a lot of jellyfish footage because, and the noise as well. So I had to get all that was in my mouth as well. The noises.
Oh, you also did the mouth noises as well.
Yeah, big part of it as well. So
Fascinating. Excellent.
uh,
Well, thank you. So getting into the character of Venom, I hmm, does this sound right? Hungry. I need eat. Like, were we trying?
literally, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
Did
were we
you
trying?
did so Michael did some research too for me, and he said that you were actually the voice of Venom, Damon. Is that correct?
I didn't know you and Michael were so close. Yes, I was. I really was trying to model it off of Audrey 2 from Little Shop.
Yeah,
And
Oh,
I can hear
baby.
that.
That would have been
Feed,
such a better
feed
movie.
me.
Oh,
feed me,
feed
Eddie.
me.
And you
That'd be
know
a lot
what?
more fun.
I'm confident that the people who make Venom have never seen Little Shop of Horrors. But if they
No,
did, they wouldn't understand. There's a connection.
there's something there.
Um, I I liked it. I liked it. I liked it. It was fun in the beginning. I liked how the movie established all of Eddie's grievances with like the convenience store and his neighbor and everything, and then like Venom like quickly dealt with those things to make his life, I guess,
Hmm.
better. But like that, ooh, this is my note. That was my issue with this because like usually the trope in superhero movies is that like Peter Parker is uncool, but getting the powers makes him not necessarily cool, but like stronger, and he's like weak, but then he gets the powers and it makes his life better. Like either the superpower is supposed to like make the character's life better, or it gives them a different perspective on their life. Like Iron Man, once he becomes Iron Man, is like, oh shit, am making weapons of mass destruction. I should change that. And I just feel like Venom doesn't really help
Mm.
anything. Like he puts fear into people's hearts, or he like bites their heads off, and I'm just like, is that helping Eddie Brock in his life? Or because it seems like it's just creating more of a complication, and I'm just not,
Yeah,
doesn't seem like it's good, but
Well,
it keeps
and I
happening.
think that's the element too, is like, so at the end, like, not spoilers, but at the end, Venom stays, and there's sort
hmm
of like, there's this scene where they're kind of negotiating what the future is going to be a little bit, where it's like, okay, we only like kill good people, and
Hmm.
we
hmm
only, it will we'll maybe eat to people sometimes because that's something that Venom wants to do, is to bite people's heads off and eat them, but they're only going to be bad people. And it's just
Hmm.
like the movie doesn't do that right. It like tonally, I'm just sort of like, like I would have liked to see Venom like kill more people, to be totally honest,
Yeah.
eat more people, do those things,
yeah,
you know, so there's actually like a sense of like this moral ambiguity in there where it's like, oh, this guy is good, but he's also bad, but like he is good like ultimately, but he does bad things to bad people. And there just was none of that. Like it just sort of
totally.
felt like ultimately it was like that sort of sanitized version of death, except,
Hmm.
and this was the thing that actually really bothered me, I think there's like a really weird racial undertone in this movie of like at the very beginning all of the people in Malaysia are getting absolutely fucking wrecked in the most gory sense possible, but then
Yeah.
when it's the cops they're just getting like punched around a little bit, you know what I mean, like in a
Hmm.
different sort of way.
Mm,
And there's this moment when the Malaysian woman that is carrying Riot is trying to find the carrier for the next thing. And they choose like this sort of small blonde girl who looks like
mm,
so innocent. And it's just like to signify to the audience, like, oh, this is a innocent child, like
Yeah.
and then Riz
yeah,
Ahmed's the bad guy who is a brown person, and
Hmm.
Venom's voice is like a black man. There's just this weird like signifiers like throughout the thing that was really weird to me. I don't know.
You're 100%. Yeah. I definitely felt that. I definitely felt that with Riz Ahmed. With Riz Ahmed, I was like, God damn it. They it's like, oh, we want to cast diverse actors, but we'll give them not the lead, so it has to be the villain. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah,
and man, it's such a good point about the people in Malaysia and then the cops, because structurally it makes sense because you want to build the tension early, and
Yeah.
so kill off those people, and then by the time cops show up, we just want to like keep the action pace. But it's also like how convenient that that's where you know, those people are falling
And that's what I mean
into.
is like if I like when Venom started fighting the cops, I was like, oh, sick. Like this is fucking rad. He's like going to town on the SWAT team. But it's just this like sanitized version of it. Like if that's where he was like biting people's heads off and it was gory, I think I could
Hmm.
lean
mm,
into the version of that movie a little bit. That's just like, oh yeah, Venom's a monster who indiscriminately kills people, and that's just the deal with this dude. So at the end,
yeah,
like at the end, he doesn't even kill the quote unquote bad guy, in that one moment right there, the guy who's robbing, like he
Hmm.
just lets him
Yeah.
go. So those were the moments where I was just like, you gotta just waste everyone if you're going to.
I don't think he lets the bad guy go. I think he eats that guy in the store, convenience store.
Does
Yeah, the
he?
very
That's just that's a little
Oh,
technical, but yeah.
oh,
it
thank you so much. Then that on me, that's on me. I wasn't watching as closely as I needed to for the text.
but I mean
Totally.
that
It's one.
that man was also a person of color, and
He
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 fully just
absolutely was. Very
Yeah,
good
gobbles him
point.
up.
yeah.
um
Oh God.
yeah, I'm not surprised that there's poor racial undertones in Venom. I
Yeah.
would be surprised. I would have been surprised if there weren't. Would have been like, whoa,
Wow, this movie in 2018 was so evolved. Who
So
knew?
amazing. It was also weird to me that like, oh, sorry, Damon.
No,
Just
please,
that Tom
please.
Hardy had autonomy with Venom, whereas this Malaysian woman was zombie and the little girl was zombie. Was it just because it was the master guy who was in them? Like maybe that is explains that away, but like
That's a good
Yeah.
the
point.
whole character, like what you said about Alex about him just having so much ambiguity, I did not understand Venom's motives. Why did he change to the good side? Literally, the only reason was because he likes Tom Hardy's character. And
Yeah.
why,
And
and
and and that brings 'cause I always like to talk about on this podcast what the villain's plans were because it's honestly always so forgettable. But I just want to make sure that we're getting it. So the plan was the symbiotes like the astronauts picked them up, brought them to Earth, and their plan was to go back into a rocket to get the rest of their symbiotic friends and just infect the world, pretty much.
yeah.
But there's only
Why do
four
they
of
need to
them.
go? Why do they need to go back into space? Like, just to get out of the atmosphere or something?
Well, I think they're still up there on a comet where they found because
Go back to the comet.
I think they found two. They found Venom and this other guy, Riot, and those two came to Earth. And they're like,
Okay,
oh, we need our other two or three or whatever.
totally.
I don't know.
Well, and so the plan was initially Riz was like, we're going to send people up there and then bring these things back so that we can learn from them so that we can then go colonize other places because these
Mhm.
symbiotes will make us invincible and like be able to like live in,
Yeah.
zero gravity or zero oxygen atmosphere and stuff like that. So that's the plan. And then he gets co-opted by Riot, and then that's when the plan changes.
Yeah.
One
Something that
stupid little
okay,
question was the rocket scientist who's trying to do like the critical abort thing at the very end, was that also one of the scientists from the lab? Was it the same actor? I couldn't tell.
Was that the one who got stabbed?
Yes. Who got stabbed?
mm,
So cool. That was so fucking sick when he got stabbed like that.
Oh,
Oh.
I want to say yes. I want to say yes. That was the same guy.
Okay, I think that's kind of
sounds
neat.
right.
Yeah.
Mm,
They really played fast and loose with rocket science and bioscience, which I think are I don't know. I think people who study the body
Two
are
of your
different than
areas of
people.
expertise, of course. Two of
Yeah.
your areas of expertise, rocket science and bioscience.
Yes, I
Mm,
mean, I said bioscience, you would get it. It's really more like brain surgery. But as a rocket science and brain surgeon like Kim Possible's parents, I was really horrified at the representation in this movie.
Me too, on your behalf. I was watching this thinking like, wow, Damon's gonna fucking
I
go
know.
ballistic.
As someone who can do
lose it.
both, not everybody can do both.
It's so true.
Okay, last call. Last call. Is there anything we haven't talked about from this movie? Is there anything you just like? I want to talk about blank. What haven't we said?
I have a couple things I want to bring up. One is I really hated that little feature where Venom like slurped around and talked face to face. That was awful.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
just
think it
like
was
the head.
necessary,
Hmm.
and just every time it happened, I thought it was so cheesy. So that's kind of that. My second main question is I really needed more Spider-Man and had no understanding of the connection. As someone who's kind of a novice, I just didn't understand the connection. So any explanation would help because the movie did not explain.
So,
Yeah.
so this was actually going to be my big thing because I completely agree with you, Avery. It's like I have
Yeah.
read Spider-Man. J. Jonah in the comics, Jonah Jameson's son is a astronaut who comes back to Earth with the Venom symbiote, and then that finds Peter Parker, and it becomes like this new suit, where he's like doing this thing, but like weird stuff starts happening, and when he's asleep, he goes out in the suit, and like it gets
Hmm.
bad. Um, and so eventually he kind of rejects the suit, and then that's when it finds a criminal who becomes Venom, and so that's the
Oh,
Spider-Man
okay.
connection there. That's like the larger thing.
Shout out to
Um,
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, which is a terrible
yes,
movie.
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace is Venom.
Yeah, yeah, and this one just kind of reimagines it where it's like I think that's why they set it in San Francisco because this is supposed to
Hmm.
be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man
Hmm.
universe. So he's like off in New
Oh,
York and this is happening in San Francisco. And I mean, it's truly just because you're right. There should be a Spider-Man. Like this is like his arch rival, his mirror image, his evil self is Venom, but because they want to build this as like Venom's a hero, there's like we have to ignore Spider-Man.
Totally. Okay.
One of the other things too was Venom, for all of his like you're right, his like scampering and rampaging and his surging and stuff like that, but he still does swing from like the symbiote like takes the place of the web and he just like shoots that to go. And in this one they had sort of like the spider tendrils coming out of his back to like pull him places. And I didn't like that as much. I was hoping for a little more web swinging, you know what I mean? Like that's
Oh yeah.
one of the fun
Yeah.
things that we are missing from this.
Yeah, it didn't even end because I feel like every Spider-Man movie ends with Spider-Man just swinging through the city.
Yeah.
Could have been, I don't know, could have been great. Could have been great to see Venom. It could have been great to see Venom swinging, but you know what we're gonna see that's gonna be great? A fuck, marry, kill. That's right, everybody. It's time for fuck, marry, kill. On the docket today, I'm not gonna explain I'm tired of explaining the rules. We all know how to play this. We're all over 21. We've done this. We have 3 characters that we will be fucking, marrying, and or killing. On the bill today is Anne, played by Michelle Williams, Drake, played by Riz Ahmed, and Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy. Let's just leave, it's up to you if you want to incorporate Venom into your Tom Hardy choice. I'll go first to give my guests time to think. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I do this every time when it's 2 men and a woman. I'm going to kill Michelle Williams. I'm so sorry. It's nothing against Anne. I do think she's underwritten as a girl boss, girl boss the house down. But I just, you know what? Honestly, she should not leave her work computer out when she lives with a reporter. If you're a lawyer engaged to a reporter, bless, you need to be more careful. And again, as a former junior paralegal, just not gonna just want to say
You
that.
can't leave the life behind. It follows you.
It does. I'm always thinking about the law, like every day. So I'm gonna kill her. I don't know. I'll probably just lock her in a filing cabinet, or not cabinet, filing room, and just let her die. My fuck will be Drake, Riz Ahmed. I like it. I like Riz Ahmed. I like his intensity. I know he seems like an arrogant prick, but that's kind of my jam. For one night, and this would be pre his infection of was it Riot?
Right.
And then I'm gonna marry Tom Hardy. As previously revealed, we have the same birthday. I can only assume Eddie Brock has the same birthday. He looks amazing. He looks great. There's been a lot of talk about him looking greasy or trashed. You know what? If you get infected by an alien creature, that's gonna happen. I will stand by him. That is my husband. That is my
I don't know.
heart.
He looked pretty terrible before he got infected, so it doesn't quite. I'm noticing some inconsistencies, just like in the movie here, Damon. Unfortunately,
No. He looked great on that motorcycle. I will be a happy little wife to that man.
maybe you can change him.
And that's what we always have to say. Okay. Alex Honnet, please give us your picks.
Well, as a hetero man, I'm going to fuck the woman, Michelle Williams Ann, to just give this count out. No,
Alex, sit down.
I won't. I won't. I've been sitting the whole time. I'm fired up. No, I think I would fuck Riz Ahmed too. Ahmed. He's got a really kind of nice, quiet, brooding intensity in this that is really, really nice. I'm going to also fuck Venom in that same category.
Oh, okay. It's
But
not
then
the
I'm going to
rule.
marry Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy's character. And
Ooh.
unfortunately, Michelle Williams, this character is like incredibly boring. It's
Maybe we
just
can kill
like,
the screenwriter.
yeah, I mean, like it's so out of place in a superhero, like in a genre where women are notoriously underwritten. To have someone so underwritten is still like a staggering achievement. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
what an afterthought to just be like, and I guess we have to have this person here too. That was boring, and that's my story.
Nice. Avery McClure, what say you?
I think it's funny. I think we're all going the same way. I think, yeah,
Oh.
I have to kill Anne. And again, Michelle Williams, I really, in case footage of this gets out, It's just this particular an IO situation. I really just didn't like this performance. But I know she has more in her, and it was the script. But yeah, she didn't give me much. Have to kill her. I will definitely marry Drake. I think he's very. I mean, did I say marry? I meant fuck Drake.
Okay,
Is what I want to do. He's really handsome. He's definitely a little evil. So for one night, it would be great. And then marry Tom Hardy. Fighting for justice, doing whatever it takes, burning bridges when he needs to, and turning an alien specimen to the good side. I mean, he's got it all.
He's got it all. Beautiful. This rarely happens where we're all aligned, and there's no right answers, but it feels nice when we all agree.
Before you start to end the podcast, I guess I'm curious, like really quickly. I genuinely liked this movie, and after it was done, I wanted to watch the next one. They made 3 of them, so I was like, do I just roll into number 2 right now and like get going with it? Like, as much as I just like ragged on it for an hour, like I did enjoy myself. Like the inconsistencies didn't bother me as much as I thought they would, and I get why it was a hit. Like it just like it was a big old mess, but not in a way that was unenjoyable.
Totally. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I was like, okay, this is what they're doing. But I will say I'm intrigued because the post-credit sequence showed that Woody Harrelson is playing Carnage, or will play Carnage, the next symbiote victim. And that's intriguing. And listeners, you'll tune in next week when we talk about Venom 2 to hear my thoughts. Thank you all so much for coming to this podcast. Thank you to Alex Honnet. Thank you to Avery McClure. Alex Honnet, where can people find you online? What's happening? Do you have anything coming up? Promote yourself.
Oh,
please.
I mean, if you're in Los Angeles and you want to come see me do an improv show, I definitely check me out on Instagram at Honnet A. That's kind of the only place I post these days. And I produce a show once a month called Old Dogs versus Wild Hogs for Saturdays at the Clubhouse at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. rather. That's really fun. It's just like a bunch of Chicago folks and some really great LA people chopping it up on stage. But that's it.
We'd love to shop. Do you have any favorite people who have done that show?
There was one guy who sort of comes and he always kind of just negs everyone on stage for the whole time he's there. And he is incredibly good. His name's Claudio Saavedra.
Damn.
And he's one of my best friends.
Wow.
No, Damon's always amazing whenever we're lucky enough to get him on that show. I love having him there. He's so funny. If you guys if you're a listener and you've never seen Damon improvise, you're really missing out. He's a real treat.
Oh my
gosh.
It's very good.
And this is from a washed up creative director, so I don't know how much that that credence that lends him.
Hey, you've seen it all from your vantage point. Okay, thank you, Alex. Avery McClure, same question. What's up? What are you doing?
Same deal. I'm in LA, so I post on my Instagram, Avery McClure 0, and then on TikTok too. Follow me. I can be annoying sometimes, but it's a good time overall.
Avery, you're on TikTok too? Is that like the second app for TikTok?
Yep. Yeah. It's the second version.
The sequel.
It's even better.
Just like Venom 2.
Just
exactly.
TikTok 2 and Venom 2. This is Podcast 616. You can listen to, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, or podcasting network that lets me talk about Venom whenever I want to. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast that we just did?
You guys did a great job losing your P616 virginity, so I got to give you guys a A++.
Wow, that makes me feel so good.
That really is awesome. Thank you.
Man, I don't know mathematically how that works out, but I love to get those. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Avery. And thank you, listeners. We'll be back to talk more about Venom 2 next week. But until that time, remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility.